Alright guys, good morning guys. MWUSA Season 4, Episode 59. It's 3 a.m. guys. 3 a.m. We just got back to the car. And let me just back up a little bit. This is part 3 of our 2 overnights. We left home, traveled to a whole different area, picked up a friend, and traveled to Chicago. Slept in just outside Chicago, and then today we went to Chicago and spent the day in Chicago, played all day, and left Chicago in the afternoon, which I guess really would be yesterday afternoon. And we just got back to my friend's home base where he lives, and he dropped me off at my car, and I immediately drove my car to the casino door, and he was in the elevator. He was already going in as well, to try to get some play in before he got some sleep. 3 a.m. The last place that I talked to you from, I was going into a different casino hours away from here, and I ended up not playing any table games. I ended up playing a few slots and left that casino ahead $60, okay? So then we drove the couple hours to this casino, got here a little bit after 3 o'clock. I went into the casino and looked at some slots, was ahead like $20 or $30, played some blackjack, came back to the slots, and ended my night ahead $5 on the slots, only $5. I did find a blackjack table that I wanted to play. I played that table for a short time, very short time. Had some decent variance, which is good. One of the first for this trip. I had some decent variance at the beginning of this trip a couple days ago, and a little bit of decent variance at that table, and ended up leaving that table ahead $500. So right now we are heading toward home, and we're going to get home after the kids go to school and just before work starts. So I am going to make I'm still going to stop and gamble on the way home, but time is very tight, so we're going to have to be very efficient about what we're doing here, and hopefully make a little bit more money. Right now it is 41 degrees outside. This trip has been crazy up and down as far as temperature, as low as the low 30s, as high as the mid to high 70s for a temperature. Food-wise, it's been crazy. In fact, we can talk about that right now. What did you eat the last 2 days, MW? And yeah, man, what did I eat the last 2 days? 2 days ago, I had a couple candy bars and a little bit of beef jerky, and that's all I had for the day. Some drinks and things like that. I guess I can't rate those, right? Because they're just regular packaged food. I got back to the hotel that we got, and over there they had like a 24-hour deli area, and I got myself chopped salad, ham and turkey and things like that on it, and I had that before going to sleep. Woke up, we had our whole day today. The whole day, the only thing that I ate, I'm thinking, I had a cheeseburger with no bread in the afternoon, like late afternoon, 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then about 3 hours ago, I had another salad with like ham. I think it was all ham, but quite a bit of that on there. Cucumbers, tomatoes, like big, huge pieces of tomatoes and cucumbers and stuff on there. So that was good, and that's all I've eaten the last 2.5 days. So been busy. We've been gambling, going from one place to another, trying to make money. and it's been some heartbreak and some joy, but overall it has not been the best trip. But I'm closing back in on zero, so if that's any consolation. So if you're looking for like the podcast of somebody who like makes $20,000 a day, you're looking at the wrong podcast. This is a real podcast, real person, average person who works harder than anybody you know, and we're making money any way we can, but sometimes we have some bad variance. Now, I want to address something that I don't even know how long the last 2 episodes are. I don't even know if I've even published. I didn't publish the last one, obviously. That one just finished up. But a couple days ago, or yesterday, actually, 2 days ago, because it's morning now, there was a huge play, and there was some back and forth about what happened with that, and I want to tell you what happened with that now that I have the complete story. 2 days ago, about 3 a.m., a friend of mine went to the casino, was checking a machine in the high limit. He found plays at the $200, $300, and $500 level. He had between $60,000 and $70,000 in his pocket. He decided not to play it. There were going to be partners, and they wanted to get involved, and then they were back and forth, and this is from what I remember from what he told me. So 2 days ago morning, I show up to town. I leave home early, and I get to town about 9 or 10 in the morning. And he tells me about this. I said, let's go take a look, and I'm happy to play it. Now, originally, he had just told me about the $500 play, but then he filled me in and let me know that there was also a $200 and a $300 per spin play. We go to take a look at it. There's a guy sitting at the machine. Looks like just an ordinary older guy. So we're like, we'll just wait him out. Well, it turned out he wasn't just some ordinary guy. He was being told to sit at that machine and wait while money was being brought. And there was some kind of Eastern European guy walking around coordinating this, it seems like. Anyway, we weren't able to get on the machine because he was sitting there with money in the machine but not spinning it. The correct thing to do there would have been to force him to spin it, but he may have had some money, but to me it seemed like he had no money because he was using points just to put the $40 on the machine to make it look like he was active on that machine. So if we had forced him off the machine, we would have gotten it and we would have played it. Instead, we waited over an hour, maybe over an hour and a half, and abandoned the play. We took off. We had partners. I was going to be about 20%. I had someone else that was going to be about 20%, and we had the rest covered. And I don't even think we needed that many partners because we had people willing to take the action. We left town, continued on our trip, just a little bit late, but continued on our trip. We got a call that there was a guy that flew to this area from Texas with money in order to play this. We were told that within the first $2,000, he hit the $500 machine, which means within the first 4 spins. As it turns out, he hit that within the first 2 spins, and it paid approximately $100,000. Yeah, so we didn't feel very good about that. Then we heard that he was playing the $300 per spin play, and he hit that very quickly as well. And if I remember right, he hit that for like $40,000 or $45,000. And then we heard a rumor that it looks like they ended up making approximately $250K on the entire play. As it turns out, it looks like the true number was approximately $180,000 profit. 20% of 180,000. That would have been nice. You know, it's like $36,000 would come in handy, I think. I've got some things I'd like to do with that money. So that's what we know from people who were around after we left, and we believe this information to be true. So that's what happened. You know. Anyway, I don't know how things went with my friend when he went into this casino that I just left. He was still there when I left, but I couldn't afford to wait too much longer because I've got a lot to do. I've got some work to do in the car, and I got to get home, and I got to get to the office, and I got to make stops along the way to try to make money as well. So you're all caught up. That's what's happening right now. I know that's a lot, but this is part 3, so hopefully you listen to part 1 and part 2, and this catches you up, and I'll be back to update you shortly. Alright guys, I am back. So I go into this place, it's now like after 5 a.m. Go into this place and I'm looking around. I find a play right away. I play that one through. It goes pretty well. Then I'm searching around everywhere else and I'm not finding anything else. Go to the back, go to the front, go everywhere. Nothing going on. No plays anywhere. So I pack it in and get out of there. And I was probably only in there for about 20 minutes or so. And that time yielded me plus $149. So plus $149 there. And I want to talk a little bit about lessons learned on this trip. For one, something that happened that was out of our control was that big machine and the possibility of making money on that big machine. We quickly organized and figured out how much money we had and who would be involved, and we were ready to go. But we probably should have pushed that guy off the machine, and we should have taken it. Also, if my friend had woken us all up at 3 a.m. when he was there and asked us if we wanted a piece of it, we would have said yes, and we might have been able to start it earlier. There was no way to tell, though. I mean, he had talked to the people around him, and they were kind of going back and forth, and he decided against it. He definitely had enough money by himself if he wanted to, but when you're talking about numbers that big, it's better to spread it around than to have one person have, like, you know, practically life-changing money, $250,000 up or down or whatever in one day. Other than that, you know, we had planned to go to certain places. Our information was not as good as what we thought. In fact, even when we were close to these locations and we met with locals, they gave us information that was really not the situation on the ground, so to speak. So there wasn't much more that we could do there. Had some bad variants at the Hard Rock, Northern Indiana, and at the Wind Creek, or whatever it was called, that just opened up. Nothing I could do about that. I was actually very fortunate, to tell you the truth, because I was betting, let's say, 25 to 300 or 25 to 250, and if I was playing my normal higher denominations, I would have gotten just destroyed completely. I would have CTR'd at both places, so it could have been much worse. And one of the reasons I lowered my bet spread lately was my sanity, for one thing. Big swings were really getting to me. And number two, to make sure that my game was solid. I didn't want to keep on playing and possibly losing if my game was not solid. I think I've proven to myself and with testing myself that my game is good, that everything is good, that I'm just going through some bad variance right now, and I'm thankful that I lowered my bet spread so that I didn't hurt any more of my bankroll in the process. So those lessons learned. We probably would never visit that Bally's in Chicago ever again unless we were already in the area within walking distance. It doesn't make sense to pay that much for parking, and the quality of the situation there wasn't that great. If you look at the number of machines that are there and the number of people that were playing them, it would have been very difficult to make money under most circumstances there. And also, if you look at the location and the amount of people around that location, the return to player was probably set pretty low. It would have been difficult for us to make money as well. When you have a bunch of people competing, people take a machine early, that combined with a lower return to player would have been possibly a disaster long term. The blackjack games that were there were not very good games. They were aimed at the people who were there, basically. Northwestern has a branch there, and Northwestern University, and there were a lot of young people there, and they don't know that much about odds and things like that as far as blackjack. They were playing an inferior game, and the better game was not going to open till late at night. It didn't make sense for us to wait there, and we probably would have left a few minutes earlier if we had realized that it was like that, but we ended up spending an extra like $25 on parking because we were a few minutes late. Let me see here. The Horseshoe in Hammond was a decent place. It was a big place, nice place, really. New carpets, eating areas were nice, but very convenient. I mean, they were like, kind of, you just go up to the desk and you order, and then there's like tables, and you sit down and wait for them to call your name. It wasn't like a very formal thing. There probably was maybe a formal steakhouse there, but we weren't looking for it. The high limit was pretty nice. Nice slot area, nice blackjack area, although the blackjack area was kind of in a back corner and kind of small. There wasn't one Pai table, at least, in the blackjack area. And then there was an enormous baccarat game. And I'm telling you, there are so many Asian people at these casinos that baccarat right now in some casinos is like 80% of the high limit tables. At the Hard Rock, there was probably estimating 25 baccarat tables. In the low limit, there was probably 5 okay blackjack tables in the low limit, and probably 4 or 5 blackjack tables in the high limit. Baccarat was taking over, and there were a bunch of circus games, carnival games, stupid games that unless you were getting a peek at the dealer's card, it was a ridiculous game. You shouldn't play it. It seemed like the Hard Rock in northern Indiana had lower return of players set, and all the Indian casinos that we went to, which was like 3 or 4, maybe more, Indian casinos seemed like the return to player was set a lot higher. Just letting you know, if you visit the Chicago area, to be mindful of that. The Wind Creek had 6-deck, hit 17, no resplit aces in the low limit, and the same in, high limit was stay 17. Both areas, no surrender. I wouldn't say that they were too watchful for card counters. I read a lot of what was on on Blackjack Apprenticeship's Casino 411, and it seemed like some people were saying that they were like very hawkish and looking for card counters. I don't think so. I think they were probably just trained. If someone's going from one hand at 50 to 2 hands at 1,000, and within a couple hands, maybe watch out for them. If they didn't want to talk, if they didn't want to drink, people who come to play want to talk a lot. They're lonely. They want company. A lot of the times, they're going to talk to the dealer a lot. They're going to talk about their problems and stuff. And a lot of times, card counters, especially new card counters, are so worried about getting the math right and being perfect and all that kind of stuff. And they're not sharp enough to keep track of the count, the true count, and be able to talk to everyone and be friendly to everyone. And I think because of that, it's easier to pick those people out. You don't have to be a genius. And I wasn't even seeing how this guy was playing or the way that he was betting. But when I saw this guy go to the table and say, oh, it's a $100 table, would it be possible to drop it to 50? And then next thing you know, he's betting many hundreds of dollars per hand. Like I would see 2,000 or more in green chips in front of him, and 2 hands later they were gone. That's quite obvious. If you don't care, that's fine, but you better win is what I say. That's why I don't like to have an enormous spread. There are some places where I would spread big, but this would not be one of those places at a newer place like that. The pit boss and the players at that table were all talking about, well, if he didn't want to give his ID, then he's hiding something. He's doing something wrong. I had said, well, maybe, he just wanted his privacy. Oh, no, that's not what it is, Or I said, maybe he didn't have his ID. No, that's not what it is. He's hiding something. And even the guy at my table was saying, if they asked him for ID, he would say no. And they knew who he was. I mean, he had a card, a player's card and everything. And he still said if they asked him for ID, he wouldn't give it because he'd be insulted by that. So I don't think it's unusual to say, I don't want to give my ID. But 99.9% sure they suspected him of card counting, and they wanted his ID so that they could trespass him, and he declined. So he got his money back because he had $2,000 spread out on the table when the pit boss stopped the dealer from taking the money, and they ended up pushing the money back to the guy. Now, my friend did play in that high limit section as well, and I was talking to the pit boss about some of the different people that play there, and she mentioned my friend that there was a guy back here a little while ago, and he only played for a short time, and I don't think he really knew what he was doing. But when he explained it to me, he's like, yeah, I went back there, and I had a lot of good variance right away. And then, he had some blackjacks, and the dealer had 20s for 2 or 3 or 4 hands in a row, and dropped the true count to -2 or 3. He was already up $700 in 5 minutes. I mean, what would you do? Would you play a high limit table with a -2 or 3 true count? I wouldn't. Good for him for getting up. But the impression that the pit boss had was that he didn't know how to play, and she didn't even care. She's like, yeah, I think he was just passing through and didn't know how to play. That happens a lot. That's how most of our people are. So, I mean, it all worked out. Now, when we did play at the, I hate to keep bouncing around here, just the way my brain works. When we played at the Hard Rock, Northern Indiana, my friend played blackjack, and I didn't realize that I played at the same table as him, like 15 minutes after him. And my friend had said something about, the guy had asked him for a card, and my friend said, no, I'm just planning on hitting and running, just being here for a few minutes. And then the pit boss kind of pushed it a little bit more with him. But when I sat down and he asked me for a card, and I said no, he said, oh yeah, let me guess, you're just going to hit and run. And I'm like, yeah, actually, hopefully I can just double up and leave. And we thought about it, we had talked about it, and we realized that most likely what happened was he and I were walking around together talking in that area, and that pit boss probably saw us and just figured that we were together and we were both going to say about the same thing, that we weren't going to be there very long, and therefore that's why we didn't want to give our card. I don't think that was suspicious to the pit boss, because he saw us together, and the one said that, so of course the other's probably going to say that, because they're probably in a hurry and going to be leaving soon. So I think all that worked out. So what I'm saying is these first impressions made a big difference. So with my friend, he's not a good player. He's in a hurry with his card counter. He doesn't want to talk. He doesn't want to tell us about himself. He asked for a lower limit and then he bet super high. It's very suspicious. With me, I eased into my betting, and I did raise when I was supposed to raise, but I had a backstory. I talked, I had conversation. The people at the table liked me. The pit boss liked me. So it was less of a chance of getting backed off. Maybe part of it too, well, I mean, the other guy was losing too, but the fact that you lose sometimes helps get you some longevity. But you know, it's unfortunate I had bad variance there, but I think overall for the trip didn't end up too bad, maybe down 500. And without those 2 blackjack sessions, you know, I'd said it would be great if on this trip I could make 6,000. Well, those 2 blackjack sessions were like $4,200, so would have made about 3,500 or so on the trip if it wasn't for those. And if those had turned out well, maybe gotten close to that 6,000. So, and I haven't added all the numbers up exactly, but I think we're pretty close to even for the trip. So not too bad there. So right now I'm heading toward home, and I see that I am going to be just short on fuel, so I will have to stop and get fuel again. Before I get home, I was hoping to see the kids before they hit the bus. I don't think that's going to happen. As of right now, I would get home like 3 or 4 minutes before the school bus got there. So maybe if I can gain a few more minutes and make a quick stop at the gas station, I might still be able to see them. That would be the goal. So right now, you know, approaching 6 o'clock, and just continuing my trip. I'll be back. All right, guys, I am back. As I am only about half an hour away from home, the sun is coming up, and people are starting to show up at the office. So I'm gonna get home, take a quick nap, take a shower, get off to work, get checked in, and do all the things I talked about with the meetings and all that stuff. So today was hectic, but it was valuable. It was good. I'd love to do it again. Maybe plan a little bit better next time, and not be in so much of a rush. But yeah, overall, can't really complain. Everything is fine. Generally, this would be a different episode for Friday. I don't know if I'm going to have enough content Friday, so I may attach it to Sunday if I play at all today. You know, I'll just hold off right now. I'm not going to publish. I'm going to hold off, and if I play, I'll add it to this episode. So I'll be back. All right, guys, I am back. Got home, took a nap, took a shower, got dressed, and I am leaving for the office. So gonna get in there, scan my card, do a little bit of work, do a couple meetings, and then I have a meeting in person in town, and I will take care of that, and then we'll get back to the business of gambling. So that's what's going on right now. It is 39 degrees outside, and just leaving home. And I don't know, I'm a little tired. I can't say I'm not, but we've got clear skies, a nice sunny day, and it's time to get moving. So we are getting moving, and I'll be back to update you. All right, guys, I am back. Still morning. I just finished a meeting early. There's just enough time to get to a casino, just like 1 minute before the next meeting starts. So I am going to go do that. I will sit in the parking lot, do my other meeting, and then we will go in and attempt to make some money, and then we'll figure out our timing from there. But did a lot of work already this morning, and even during my meeting, So right now everything is on pace. I can hopefully earn a couple $100 here, and continue working, continue doing my meetings, and then get to my personal meeting, which is in person across town. So that's what's happening right now, and I'll be back to update you. All right, guys, I am back, just heading back to the car. I've been here for about an hour, and it was actually a good thing that I left the office to come here, because about halfway here, almost 3/4 of the way here, I get a message on my Teams saying, we're going to cancel the meeting and reschedule it. Don't worry if you can't make it to the rescheduled time. Sorry about that. And I'm like, that sounds really nice, because now I'm getting close to the casino, and I can play, make some money, and then I don't have to stress about work. And then I can also go to the meeting, the personal meeting that I have, and take care of all that without having to worry about work. So I went in and just took my time and looked for everything that I possibly could. I've probably played maybe 5 or 6 machines in an hour, but I took my time just examining everything and making sure I got everything. And in the end, it paid off pretty well. I ended the session ahead $472, so plus 472, and that I think means that I broke even now for that trip through today. So that's positive. It's when you get buried like I did there for a while, losing the 1800 and then losing the 2400 within 12 hours or 14 hours of each other. That's always painful. But thankfully, we got that all back, and we learned some things along the way. So right now, I got a couple personal items I need to take care of, and then I have my laptop next to me, so it looks like I'm working anyway. But take care of my personal items, and then head to that meeting that I have. And then from there, who knows? Now, if I had known this meeting was going to be canceled, I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but I would have gone out of town today. I would have come home, slept for 2 hours, and then gone right back out of town again. But unfortunately, it's a little bit late for that now, so that wouldn't work. But for now, I'm going to let you go. Things are going all right for the day, and I'll be back to update you soon. All right, folks, I am back. Just finished up my meeting. Everything is good. And I think I'm going to head home. It's getting later in the day. I want to spend some time with the family, relax a little bit. Tomorrow will be a very busy day. We're doing a lot of gardening and working outside, mulching and things like that. So I want to rest up a little bit. Had a good day so far today, and probably take the family out to dinner if my wife isn't planning on making anything yet tonight. So I'll give her a call. And other than that, man, wonderful day. 77 degrees outside right now. It's 77 outside, so can't complain about that at all. Gonna head home and enjoy my night, and I'll be back with you guys Sunday evening or afternoon. If you have any questions or comments, my email is mwusa21@gmail.com. mwusa21@gmail.com. See you next time.